Excellent. All right, so let's just come to a easy cross-legged seat. If you feel the need to support your hips in any way, please do. We're going to take a breathing exercise to get started. So having something under the hips that allows for a little pelvic tilt so that the pelvis tilts forward a little bit can just allow you a more comfortable seat and more comfortable breath. So support the hips if needed. And just begin to notice the breath. So doing nothing to change it, just noticing the quality of your breath as you meet the mat today. I was yesterday painting the walls in the old yoga studio as we had moved all of the stuff out of the yoga studio, and I was painting. And it occurred to me that 3 years ago, almost exactly, this would have been close to our anniversary of 3 years there, I was also painting. I was painting to open. And it made me think about how we often approach beginnings with a lot of enthusiasm and joy and maybe even nervousness, but there's a positive quality often to beginnings that's easy to access. And then here I am painting the walls, so same process, right? I was painting in the opening with all this vigor and excitement, and yesterday I was painting with a little bit of sadness, and I was kind of moving slowly, rolling up and down the walls. And I was thinking about how endings often, it's a little harder to tap into any of those positive qualities. They're both inevitable, beginnings and endings. So this made me think about breath. The inhale, we always focus on the inhale with vigor and excitement, and then the exhale sometimes gets a little less attention or notice. So we're going to do a breathing practice today, focusing on the exhale. And in honor of endings, remembering that endings naturally lead to new beginnings. And so we flow through this cycle in life. It's one of the things we can certainly count on. And one of the keys and the tools that we need for endings is some grace in letting go. So we're going to focus on the exhale and inviting awareness and grace into the exhale, into the ending. Knowing that there'll be an inhale, knowing that there'll be a new beginning. So to begin, we're going to just match the length of the inhale to the exhale. So we're going to use a counted breath to do this. So just take a full breath in and a full breath out to start. And then inhale for the count of 3. Exhale out the nose, count of 3. Inhale for 3. Exhale for 3. Continue. One more round. Now this time, inhale for 2 and exhale for 4. Inhale for 2. Exhale for 4. Inhale for 2. Exhale for 4. Now, if you begin to feel anxious, like you're not getting enough air, just return to 3 in and 3 out. And then you can gently go back to 2 in and 4 out. Just continue in this cycle, 2 to 1 breath, focusing on the exhale. Eyes can be soft or closed, whichever feels good. Notice where you might be holding any tension around this pattern of breathing. And soften. One more for the inhale of 2. Exhale for 4. Return to the count of 3 in and 3 out. Last round of 3 in, 3 out. Gently open your eyes. So the inhale always has the effect of sort of exciting the body. It actually taps into the sympathetic nervous system. And the exhale has the quality of calming the body, and it actually taps into the parasympathetic nervous system. So it's very important to really focus on the exhale. And we're going to use that counted breath with the exhale as the focus in a number of the postures today. So remember that 2 in, 4 out. Take the soles of the feet together. If you're sitting on something and you'd like to remove it, please do. Otherwise, you can stay with the pelvis a little elevated. Soles of feet touching. Sit up nice and tall, take a big breath in. And exhale, come forward any amount. You can hold on to the feet. I like to let my forearms kind of press out toward the knees, getting a deeper hip opening. You can work into that if it feels good, or just come forward any amount. Think about length. So reach through the crown of the head, lengthen the spine. The pelvis tips forward like you're pouring a bowl of water forward. And then find depth. So if it's not a ton of depth, that's okay. I'd rather have you focus on the length of the spine. Inhale for 2. Exhale for 4. Inhale for 2, lengthen. Exhale for 4. Last time, inhale for 2. And exhale for 4. Slowly come up. Take your legs wide. Lift the pelvis and set it behind you a little bit. Flex the feet, spread the toes. Again, think length before you come forward. Inhale. Exhale, maybe on fingertips. It's early in the practice, so we're not forcing into any amount of, any depth that's too much for the legs, too much for the back. If it feels available, you could certainly come down to the forearms. Again, thinking length before depth. Inhale for 2. Exhale for 4. Inhale for 2. Exhale for 4. Inhale for the count of 2. Exhale, count of 4. Slowly come up. Use your hands to bend your knees and slide your knees close together. Now we're going to extend the right leg using peace fingers wrapped around the big toe. So if this means that there's a little bend in your knee when you lengthen, that's okay. Lift the chest. I want you to sit up nice and tall. So again, thinking length through the crown of the head. Extend your right leg. I'm holding on to the shin of my left leg, sole of the left foot on the mat. Inhale for 2. Exhale for 4. Inhale for 2. Exhale for 4. Last round, just like that. Release and switch sides. Get a firm grip on your right shin. This is really about sitting up tall. If you need to kind of walk your sits bones under you, again, you could even be sitting on something. Peace fingers wrap around the left big toe. Begin to extend the leg out in front of you. Sit up tall. So it's kind of a variation and a prep for boat pose, which we will be going into. Reach tall through the top of the head. Inhale for 2. Exhale for 4. Inhale for 2. Exhale for 4. Last round, just like that. Go ahead and release that foot down. Now we're switching back over to the right side. We're going to take the right leg long and then out to the side. So half balancing bear here. Lift the chest, pull on the big toe. Again, if your knee is a little bent, that's fine. Just make sure you're lengthening the spine and lifting the chest. Inhale. Exhale for 4. Inhale for 2. Exhale for 4. Last round. Release that foot. Hold on to that shin. Wrap the fingers around the left big toe, extend the leg, and then take it out to the side. Lift the chest. Good balance between the pull of the arm and the press of the foot. Inhale. Exhale for 4. Inhale for 2. Exhale for 4. One more, inhale. And exhale. Bring that foot down. Now we're going to take the balancing bear with both legs. If you'd like to take, again, one leg at a time, you can just kind of switch half through if that feels better. So maybe finding the balance on the sits bones, extending right leg and left leg, lifting the chest, really pull on the toes. It's easy and sort of silly fun to roll backwards out of this. So if you do, no big deal. Inhale for 2. Exhale for 4. Inhale for 2. Exhale for 4. Last one. Slowly, one leg at a time, release your feet. Extend your legs out in front of you. Walk your seat back a little bit so that you get more of an opportunity to hinge at the hips. Sit up tall. Inhale, arms reach up, spread your fingers. Exhale, fold over your legs. Maybe, again, peace fingers wrap the big toes. If not, you could hold on to your knees or calves. Thinking length before depth. Inhale for 2. Exhale for 4. Inhale for 2. Exhale for 4. Last breath. Slowly release, arms overhead. Float the arms down. Bend the knees. Hold on to the shins. Sit up tall, reach to the crown of the head. We're going to find a boat pose, balancing boat pose. And you can hold on to the shins if you like, or if you have it and you want to try it, you can hold on to the big toes. Sort of like we were just doing in balancing bear, but the legs will be together. So you can stay here just hovering. Even toes can be touching. Or you can reach for the big toe wrap, extending one leg and then the other. Really have to lift the chest and the gaze. You will be feeling like you're gonna roll over backwards. Maybe you can find center. If you roll over, that's okay. And release. Cross at the ankles. Find your sits bones, sit up tall. So here's a little core engagement, a little drill. If you were practicing on Thursday with me at the yoga farm, you'll know what's coming here. So we're gonna sit up tall and hold on to the ankles. Squeeze your thighs in toward your belly. So this is, again, a balancing pose on the sits bones. If it feels like too much, of course your toes can be down and your work will be on just pulling the thighs into the belly so that you can feel your core engage. If you're floating, float, hold on to the legs, sit up tall. And this may be where you're gonna stay. If this feels available and you can keep those thighs pulling in, release the arms in front of you. So toes are hovering, thighs are pulling in. You could remain here, or you could move through low boat with me. So start to lower down, low back comes onto the mat, toes are hovering, shoulders are hovering, and we come up. That's one. Slowly come down, and up, that's two. Slowly come down, and up, that's three. We got three more. Down, and up, down, and up. Last one, down, low back touches, and up. Hover, hold, and release to an easy seat, sit up tall. Pull the belly in, tuck the ribs down. Come on over onto your hands and knees. And we'll take an intense toe stretch. So maybe 1 foot at a time. Tuck your toes under, bring your big toes touching, and then go ahead and reach back and tuck your pinky toes under. And you can stay here with hands on the mat if you're feeling quite enough opening in the soles of the feet. If you're ready, go ahead and take your shoulders over your hips and let the weight of your body stack over your heels. Inhale for 2. Exhale for 4. Inhale for 2. Exhale for 4. Last breath like that. And again, if you feel anxious, like you're not getting enough air, that sort of defeats the purpose. So you need to just adjust as needed and go back to the even. Inhale for 3, exhale for 3. Go ahead and come off the toes. Tap out the feet on the mat. We're going to come into one of these poses. The Sanskrit name for it is a dedication to some sage or another, and I don't know which one, but I love this pose. So take your time following me into the shape. It's a little unusual. Right leg first is bent. You could be on a blanket if you need it. You can see the top of my right foot is on the mat, and my heel is just beneath my right sits bone. Now I'm going to bend the left knee. Exterior rotation, sole of the left foot on the mat. So this is the leg position. Now the left elbow comes in front of the left leg to help the external rotation. We take the mudra of wisdom here. We take cactus-shaped arms, so bent at the elbow, and look up. Inhale for 2. Exhale for 4. Inhale for 2. Exhale deeply. So the exhale for 4 should really feel like you're kind of squeezing the last bit of air out. One more round like this. Release from the pose, hands to the mat, and we'll switch. Left knee bends, and you're on the top of the ankle. Your left heel is somewhere underneath your left hip. Right leg steps out, sole of the foot pressing. And again, right elbow helps with the external rotation. Mudra of wisdom, thumb and forefinger touch. And then we'll take the bent elbow on the left side and look up. Pose dedicated to some stage or another. Go ahead and find your extra long exhales here. Slowly come out of the pose. Make your way onto hands and knees. Hands under shoulders, knees under hips. We're gonna take barrel rolls. So the idea is that the torso is gonna come up and around and down. It's a variation on the cat-cow. So think about your torso being the barrel that's rolling. Move it out to the right and then up. So you're making a rounded spine over to the left, and then you find the arched spine over to the right and around. Barrel rolls. I like the name of this because I think it actually helps you find the motion. You think about rolling the torso in a barrel shape. Even out the breath. And then the next time you come all the way around, at the top, switch directions. So you'll just switch the direction of your roll. Notice if you're holding tension anywhere. Even get the neck involved so that it matches the movement. And then come to stillness. When you're ready, tuck your toes, lift your hips, downward facing dog. Really firmly arrive both mentally and physically here in this shape. Bring extra weight to your thumb and index finger. Find length up the sides of the body. Pull the belly in. Pull the ribs in. Make space between the shoulder blades. Let's send the gaze up toward the belly button today. So can you lift the gaze up toward your own belly button? Begin to wave forward when you're ready. Find the top of a push-up. Commit. Go ahead and lower your way. Feel free to use the knees all the way to the belly, hands next to the ribs, legs close together. Find a cobra pose. Your variation, and release. Shift back hands and knees. Make your way right to downward facing dog. Once you arrive, wave forward to plank. Lower your way when you get there. Inhale up to cobra, your choice. Exhale, release. Shift to hands and knees, tuck your toes. Third time through, once you arrive solidly in your dog. So show up and then wave forward. Then the elbows, lower down. Find your cobra. You could even come to up dog if you choose. And release to child's. Knees wide or close together, totally up to you. If you can, please rest your forehead on the mat. Come back to your breath. So you can start with 3 in, 3 out. This is Ujjayi Breath, ideally. So Ujjayi meaning in and out through the nose. Ocean breath. You should hear the ocean in your throat. And then when you can, maybe find a 2 to 1 breath. 2 in, 4 out. Slowly come out of your child's pose, make your way to hands and knees, and then downward facing dog. Inhale, float your right leg up behind you. First, flex the foot, lift from the inner thigh, press evenly into both hands, really find length. Now point your right toe like a ballerina. Press into your left foot to make space under the body. Big breath. Exhale, bend the knee, pull it tight into the belly. Shift forward, shoulders over wrists. Press the floor away, make space. Flex your right foot and step your foot between the thumbs. Release your left knee down. Release your back foot. Inhale as you lift the chest. Exhale as you sink the hips forward and down. Your fingertips can stay next to you on the mat. Try and square the hips a little. Inhale for 2. Exhale for 4. Plant your hands, tuck your left toes, lift your knees, step back, downward facing dog. Inhale, first just lift the leg with flexed foot, hips are in alignment, inner thigh is active, hands are strong. Now point your left toe, take a big breath in, press into your standing foot and both hands evenly. Exhale, bend the knee, pull it tight to the belly. See if you can get contact between thigh and belly. Shift forward like a push-up. Press into the hands. Flex your left foot and gently step it between the thumbs. Release your right knee down, release the top of the foot. Inhale, exhale, let the hips sink forward and down. You can support yourself with gentle fingers on the mat. Right hip forward to square the hips. Inhale for 2. Exhale for 4. One more. Inhale for 2. Exhale for 4. Plant the hands, tuck the toes, lift the knees, step back, downward facing dog. Now we're going to step forward with wide feet. So coming into a Malasana or deep squat pose. If you have difficulty with the deep squat pose, I'll give you some pointers to maybe help it come along. We'll be there a couple times in this practice. So we're going to step forward to that position. Right leg lifts. Again, making space under the body. We're going to bend the knee, but instead of bringing it into the belly, we're going to bring it toward the right elbow and then step it outside of the right pinky. Now get a little bounce in your back knee and step the left foot outside of your left pinky. So if you have the deep squat, you should find yourself there just by way of that transition. If you step forward and your hips want to be up higher, you're just going to, it's kind of like a variation on the goddess pose. The knees will track out toward the toes, sink the hips, and you can even rest your elbows on the thighs. Just make sure the knees aren't collapsing inward. Same thing when you're in your deep squat. The knees need to track out. They kind of want to fall in. Now another thing that can be helpful, and it doesn't have to be your mat, it could be a blanket, is a rolled something under your heels. So I offered this to someone in my massage practice the other day that was talking about how they had a hard time with that pose, and it made all the difference in the world. So give that a try if you need to or want to. Plant the hands, lift the hips, bow the head. Heel toe your feet to hips distance. Inhale to halfway lengthen, lift the chest. Exhale to bow. Soften the knees. Inhale, take a big sweep to the top. Palms touch. Reach up, maybe a little back bend. Look up. Exhale, Samastahi, standing pose, hands at prayer. Even out your breath, preparing for sun salutations. So the sun salutations will be slightly varied today, as I do sometimes, so just follow along. Inhale, sweep your arms overhead, palms touch, reach up. Exhale, dive forward. Inhale to half lengthen. Exhale, hands to the mat, right foot steps back. Release your right knee down, release your foot. Keep your fingertips down on the mat if you like, or inhale, reach up. Hips low, fingertips high. Big breath. Exhale, hands to the mat. Lift your right knee, step back, downward facing dog. Inhale, wave forward to the top of a push-up. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale to up dog or cobra. Exhale to downward facing dog. Inhale, lift your right leg high. Exhale, bend the knee, take it to the right elbow. Step to the outside of your pinky. Give a little bounce to the back knee. Step forward for squat or your version. Inhale here, palms at prayer maybe. Exhale, plant the hands, bow the head, lift the hips, heel toe in. Inhale, halfway. Exhale, bow. Soften the knees. Inhale, big sweep to the top. Palms touch, reach up, little back bend, look up. Exhale, Samastahi, standing pose, hands at prayer. Inhale, sweep up. Exhale, dive. Inhale to half lengthen. Exhale, hands to the mat, left foot steps back. Release your left knee, release your foot. Inhale, you can sink the hips, keeping fingertips down, or as you inhale, reach up. Hips low, fingertips high, gaze up, inhale. Exhale, hands to the mat, tuck your left toes, lift your back knee, downward facing dog. Inhale, wave forward to plank. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale to up dog or cobra. Exhale to down dog. Inhale, left leg lifts. Exhale, bend the knee. Step it forward outside the left pinky. Bounce your back knee. Step forward, Malasana, deep squat. Inhale for one pause. Exhale as you bow the head forward and lift the hips. Heel toe to hips distance. Inhale to half lift. Exhale to bow. Soften the knees. Inhale. Big sweep to the top. Reach up. Find a little back bend. Look up at your thumbs. Exhale. Samastahi. Even out the breath. Samastahi is the standing pose or mountain pose. Hands at prayer. Sometimes I get attached to Sanskrit words that sound yummy in my ears. So that one is what I've been loving to use in practice. Inhale, sweep all the way up, palms touch, reach up, look up, exhale, dive. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, hands to the mat, right foot steps back, keep the heel high, knee lifted. Inhale to airplane wings. Exhale, arms forward, shoulders over hips. Activate through your right heel. Inhale, reach high with the fingers. Exhale, settle in, broaden the shoulders. Big breath. Exhale, hands to the mat. Step back, downward facing dog. Inhale, wave forward to plank. Exhale, lower your way. Inhale, up dog or cobra. Exhale to downward facing dog. Inhale, right leg lifts. Exhale, bend the knee, bring it up to the right elbow and step the foot outside of the right pinky. Little bounce in the left leg, step forward, deep squat. Elbows help the knees track out. Nice long spine, inhale. Exhale, plant the hands, bow the head, lift the hips. Heel toe, hips distance, inhale, half lift. Exhale, bow deep. Root down to rise, inhale. Sweep all the way up, palms touch, find a little back bend, look up, pause, hold the breath. Exhale, Samastahi. Last round, inhale, sweep all the way up, palms touch, reach it. Exhale, dive. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, hands to the mat, left foot steps back heel stays high. Inhale, lift, airplane wings. Exhale, arms forward, shoulders over hips. Inhale, reach the fingers high. Exhale, broaden the shoulders, deepen the pose. Big breath. Exhale, take your hands to the mat. Step back, downward facing dog. Inhale, wave forward to plank. Exhale, lower your way. Inhale to up dog or cobra. Exhale to down dog. Inhale, left leg floats. Exhale, bend the knee, bring it to the left elbow and step it outside of the left pinky. Bounce the back knee, step it outside of the right pinky. Deep squat, Malasana, or your variation. You can always use a block under your hips. Inhale, exhale. Bow the head, lift the hips, heel toe in. Inhale to half length. Exhale to bow. Root down through the feet, inhale to rise. Palms touch, reach up, hold the breath, look up. Exhale, Samastahi. Bring weight into the left foot. Little challenge for the quadriceps here. Bring your right knee in. Interlace your fingers on the right shin and really pull the thigh in. So you're increasing the flexion in your hip here. Nice deep flexion in the hip. The foot can be soft. The intention is to bring the thigh as close to the belly as possible. And then release. We'll do the other side. Right leg takes the weight. Left thigh pulls in. The foot is soft. Really pull the thigh in, so making the deepest hip crease possible. And then release. Okay, so left foot takes the weight. Right knee comes up. Now, if you have difficulty holding the toe with a straight leg, you can just hold on to your knee. If you can, yogi peace fingers around the big toe. Extend the right leg. Left hand to left hip. Inhale for 2. Exhale for 4. Inhale for 2. Exhale for 4. Last round of breath that way. Now we're going to take the leg out to the side. So exterior rotation. Keep your left hand at your left hip. Again, you could be holding your knee instead of your foot. Turn your gaze to the left. Little challenge. 3 rounds of breath. Bring it back to center, gaze 2. Release the toe. See if you can hold the leg out in front of you. Flex the foot. Hands at your hips. 3 rounds of breath. Last round. And release. So again, I could be with a bent knee. And if you're getting some cramping in that right thigh, join the club. Right leg is going to take the weight. Bring your left knee up. Again, you just hold the knee if you prefer. It's good balance practice. Or yogi toe wrap on the left toe. Extend the leg out. Right hand to right hip. Gaze out in front of you. Draw your left hip back. 3 rounds of breath. And you're like, why are you talking instead of telling us to breathe? That's old. Last round. Open the leg out to the side. So again, this could be knee. Turn your gaze to the right. 3 rounds of breath. Come back to center with the leg and the gaze. Release the foot. Hands to prayer. 3 rounds of breath. Release. Beautiful. If you need to wiggle out the hips, go for it. Coming into a dancer's pose. Left arm up. Right arm out like you're holding a tray. Shift the weight into your left foot, bend your right knee, reach for the inside of the foot. Feel free to stay right here. If you're ready to tip into the king of the dance pose, you'll just push the foot into the hand. The action of pushing the foot back and up will naturally tip your chest forward just the right amount for balance. So rather than thinking about tipping, just let the body tip with the kick. It should even out perfectly. Gently release. Other side, right arm up, left arm out like you're holding a tray. Shift the weight into your right foot, bend your left knee, reach for the inside of the foot. Stay here or begin to kick the foot back. So you'll notice if I kick it back a little bit, my chest tips a little bit. If I kick it back a little more, my chest tips a little more. If I kick it back and up, my chest tips into the full pose. Last breath. And release. Inhale, sweep the arms up, reach up, look up. Exhale, dive forward. Inhale to halfway lengthen. Exhale, hands to the mat. Step back to downward facing dog. Walk your hands back to your feet. Hands walk back to feet. So you're now at the back of your mat. Inhale to half lift. Exhale to bow. Soften the knees. Inhale, big sweep to the top. Keep the hands overhead. Interlace the fingers. Release just the index fingers. Keep the thumbs crossed. Walk the biceps back by the ears. Coming into a warrior three pose. Left foot takes the weight. Right knee floats. Flex your foot, spread the toes. Take a big breath in. Exhale, step onto the right foot. Tip the chest forward. Reach with the fingers and let your left leg float. Really reach in opposite directions. Activate through the heel. Step back. Release the pose. Release the arms. Inhale, sweep the arms up. This time, interlace the fingers, but take the unhabitual pattern. Take the opposite pinky, the unusual feeling pinky on the outside, and then flip the thumbs as well. Now, index fingers release. Shift the weight into the right foot. Float your left leg up. Spread the toes. Get solid in your core. Step onto the left foot. Tip forward and reach, and let your right leg float up behind you. Reach back, inner thigh lifting. Steady the gaze. Even out the breath. Step back, back of the mat. Float the arms down. Step your feet wide. Now, we're going to come into the deep squat or Malasana, so you know where you want to go. If you had a block or a cushion, you can always set it up to support your hips. This will go a long way in developing knee flexion and hip flexion. You could use a cushion or something like it, a bunch of rolls of toilet paper or something. If you have the deep squat, go ahead and come all the way in. Again, feel free to roll your mat or a good blanket under the heels will sometimes do the trick. Palms at prayer, sitting up tall. We're going to come into a twisting variation of the pose. So if you're up a little higher, you can just use your elbow on your left thigh, or you can place your left hand at 12 o'clock and take your right arm up. Look up, rock the weight back into the heels, open the knees so they're tracking with the toes. Come out of the twist. Again, maybe elbow on the inner thigh or right hand down, left arm up. Look up at the top thumb, rock the weight back and track the knees open. So sometimes it requires a little engagement in the inner thighs to really get those knees opening outward. And then come out of the twist. Now just for a little fun, we'll play with crow since we're in this lovely prep pose for crow. Hands on the mat, spread the fingers wide. Step your toes in. Rock the weight forward and keep the knees above the elbows. So up here in the tricep area, closer to the armpit. Rock the weight forward and jut the chin out. Jut the chin out. That will help you with the balance. And maybe that's just where you're going to go today. Little bit of weight on the hands, gaze forward, chin lifted. If you have the pose, go ahead and go into it. If you want to play with the pose, squeeze your knees into those triceps. Rock forward, lift just one toe. Maybe lift both toes. Coming out of the pose, returning to deep squat or your variation. Plant the hands, Lift the hips, heel toe in, walk the hands out, downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, inhale, lift your right leg. Bend the knee, point it up toward the ceiling. Let your foot drop back toward your left hip. Stay here, or if you have it in your practice, you're comfortable, you can come into a wild thing. So this top foot will step behind you. Keep that knee bent. Left leg is straight. Left wrist is stacked under your left shoulder. Open the front of the body. Reach the right arm out. Press firm into that right hand, or excuse me, the right foot. Lift the hips. Lower the hips to come out of the pose. We're going to roll back over. Downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg lifts. As I said before, it's perfectly fine to stay in this hip opening position, just knee pointing up. You'll even feel some opening in the left side in front of the body. If you're hanging out here, you could play with coming onto left fingertips, just to see what it would feel like to take some weight on the right hand. If you're coming into wild thing, step back and lift. Left knee is bent, right leg is long, hips are lifted, chest is open. Press firm into that bottom hand for support. Lower the hips to come out of it. So start to bend the knee, lower the hips toward the mat, and crawl back over. Downward facing dog. Opportunity to rest or move in any way you like here. So feel free to move through vinyasa with me, or you can go into a child's pose or headstand or back to crow if you like. Inhale, high plank. Exhale, lower. Inhale, up dog or cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. We'll all meet in the dog, no rush. If you're in the dog, even out your breath. See if you can start with 3 in, 3 out, and then find 2 in, 4 out. From the downward facing dog, either you've been here with me before, so the stepping forward to the deep squat, or you can hop to a deep squat. So what that would look like is a little bend in the knees and a little bounce. And then instead of stepping right and left, we would just hop, kind of like a frog. Malasana. Palms to the mat, lift the hips, bow the head, heel, toe, feet under hips. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, bow. Soften the knees. Inhale, big sweep to the top. Palms touch, reach up. Exhale, Samastahi. Couple more balancing postures. Left foot takes the weight. Right ankle crosses over the left knee. Spread your right toes, flex the foot, that will protect your right knee. Hands to prayer, sink the hips. Left hip draws back in space. Even out the breath. 3 breaths, so either 3 in, 3 out. So once we get moving, the 2 in, 4 out can be more challenging. So if that causes stress, just go back to 3 in, 3 out. Now pressing into your standing foot, we're gonna come into a flying warrior 3, maybe maintaining the balance. So start by finding a straight left leg, pull your right thigh in, open your arms, airplane wings, and begin to tip forward as you send your right heel back. Once you arrive, then find your extra engagement. Strong leg, long neck, spread fingers. How slowly can you lower your right toes? Like you're moving through molasses. Bend your left leg. Toes land. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, lower your right knee down. You're gonna keep 90-90 knees and right toes tucked. Big breath. Exhale, right elbow outside your left knee, palms touch. Now you can stay here in this 90-90 twist, or you can open the arms. Fingertips touch the mat outside of your left foot. Or keep your hands in prayer. Scissor your legs together. So scissor them toward each other, thighs toward each other. Come out, hands to prayer. Bring your hands to the mat, lift your left knee. Now we're going to come out of this pose, hopefully repeating exactly how we went into it. So find your airplane wings, soften your back knee to launch. Pause and find your most integrated shape here. Bend your lifted leg, bring it forward, left ankle over your left knee, palms to prayer, sink the hips. Press into the standing foot to release the shape. Feel free to roll out your left ankle if it's needing it. Prepare for that same set of shapes on the other side. Right leg takes the weight, left ankle crosses over, spread the toes, hands to prayer, sink your hips. So you'll feel that in that left hip probably with all that balance on the other side. Even out the breath. Press into your standing leg to grow tall. Arms out, airplane wings. Pull your left thigh into your belly and prepare to begin the journey into flying warrior. Once you arrive, then find your extra engagement. Spread the toes, open the chest, lengthen the neck, soften the face. How slow is your transition? Start to bend your right leg. Toes land. Big breath. Arms overhead, sink your left knee. Toes stay tucked. Take your left elbow outside of your right knee. Press palms. Look up. Scissor your legs together. Or maybe take the open twist. Maybe fingertips anchoring to the mat. Unwind. Hands to prayer. Lift your back knee. Arms open. Begin to shift the weight forward. Lift into your flying warrior. Bend your lifted leg. Bring the knee forward. Find the left ankle over the right knee. Hands to prayer, sink the hips. Flex your left foot. Even out the breath. Press into your standing leg to release and just shake it out. We're just going to do a little bit of hip opening, and we're going to balance first on the left foot. So we're just going to try and think about moving the head of the femur bone around in the hip socket. Again, there's balance here, so a lot of balance in this practice today. So not what we're always seeking. Left foot takes the weight, right knee floats. So we're going for an exterior and then interior. It can kind of be like a figure eight, but don't get too caught up in the shape. Exterior, interior, exterior, interior. You can move at your own pace. What this is doing is it's using the big head of the femur bone to actually massage all the attachments of the big hip and leg muscles. The greater trochanter, it's the name of that head of that bone. Even out the breath. Keep going if you can. If you need to touch down, take a break. No big deal. One more. Can you take the exterior and the interior? Trying to keep the torso as straight as possible. And find both feet on the mat. Preparing for the other side. Right hip takes the weight, float the left knee. I like to keep my hands at the hips. You could try arms out for balance. Exterior, interior. Exterior, interior. So you may feel spots where there's a catch. So that's good information, right? What's going on in that little spot? I know on my left side, I get a little catch, a little less smooth than the other side. No judgment, just noticing. If you can keep going, keep going. If you need to rest, rest. Maybe one more. Exterior, interior, and release. And we have one more stability, hip stability exercise. And again, this was also involving the psoas and deep core muscles. Shift your weight onto your left foot. Float your right foot a ½ inch off the floor so that you could swing it without touching the floor. Hands to hips is my choice. Arms could be out if you prefer. Start to swing the leg. So ideally, you're hiking the hip up into the socket. You're strengthening those hip stabilizers. This will help keep you from needing a hip replacement later in life. So let the motion get bigger. Maybe it goes way up front and way behind eventually. If you're wobbly, just come back and find your center. Keep swinging the leg so that maybe there's some nice fluid motion. Keep going. Who knew this was such hard work, right? And then slowly slow down and find stillness. Really asking these legs for a lot of work today. Right leg takes the weight. Can you hike the lift in the left hip so that there's space under the right leg? And ideally, you're not leaning over a ton. It's more trying to keep the body straight and hiking the hip up, building stability there. Begin to swing. There should be no contact under the foot. If it does touch, no big deal. But hopefully you can find a nice smooth swing and let it get bigger and bigger and bigger, forward and back. Trying to keep a straight leg. If it bends a little bit, no big deal. Even out the breath, steady the gaze. Keep going. Keep lifting into that hip to make space under the foot. And then begin to slow down and set the foot back on the mat. Nice job. These are kind of simple, unusual movements that actually do a lot of good for all of our hip stabilizers and flexors. Inhale, sweep the arms up, palms touch, reach up. Exhale, dive. Plant your hands, make your way back to downward facing dog. This is your opportunity, last opportunity to rest or move. I'll let you decide on your own. You can take a vinyasa pass. You can take a child's pose. You can take a headstand. Or you could come all the way onto your belly when you're ready. That's where we'll all meet. Laying on the belly, looking over the right shoulder, arms next to you, big toes touching, heels are soft. So start out with your 3 in, 3 out breath. And then take it down to your 2 in, 4 out. If it's comfortable, once we're nice and warm and we're moving like this, it can be hard and cause some activation, stress activation. So just stick with your 3 in, 3 if that's better. We're gonna come into a twist from the belly here, arms out like a T. And you can play with whether you want arms out like a T or bent elbow. I sometimes vary this, whatever is feeling best in my body. You can try elbow bent or arm straight. The important thing is that the arm is in line with the shoulder. And the way you can figure it out is by looking at your elbow, when you do bend it, in line with the shoulder, more or less. We're gonna roll the body to the right. So go ahead and just roll to the right, step your left foot over. It's kind of like a variation of that wild thing, only on the belly, right? And you can use this left hand to stabilize. If this feels pinchy in your shoulder, maybe walk your elbow up further or straighten the leg or the arm if that feels good. So you get to kind of decide how this twist happens. Even out the breath. Roll back to center. Go the other way. So again, decide if you want your arm bent. You can choose once you get there and roll to the left. Stabilizing with your right hand or arm, choosing if you want a straight left arm or a bent left arm, rolling into sort of this on the floor version of Wild Thing. Roll back onto your belly when you're ready. We're gonna take one final pose on the belly and then come into our Shavasana. So from the belly, come onto your forearms, Sphinx variation. Bend your right knee, reach back for the foot. If holding the foot doesn't feel available, you can just turn and look back at the foot. Maybe you take the inside edge of the foot and then square your shoulders again toward the top of the mat and just stay here. If you like this pose and it feels good, stay here. Maybe activate the foot into the hand a little bit. Slide your left hand back if you want to go a little deeper. Press into the left hand to lift your chest. And then maybe the foot finds its way into the crook of the elbow. Again, you could take that mudra of wisdom we took at the beginning. Just an option to go this deep. You could definitely stay a little lower. Slowly release from wherever you chose. Come back to Sphinx, both forearms down. Bend your left knee. Either turn and look, reach back, and then square your shoulders. This really feels pretty good, so if you want to stay here, definitely stay here. If you want it a little deeper into the shape, slide your right hand back a little bit, press to a straight arm. This should give you the space to slide your foot into the crook of the elbow maybe, or onto the forearm. Shoulders stay square, hips stay square. Even out the breath. Slowly release back to the Sphinx. From Sphinx, slide the hands under the shoulders. Make your way to hands and knees. Feel free to barrel roll a couple times or cat-cow. Just make sure you go both directions if you barrel roll. And then make your way hips to heels, hips to mat, legs around, slow lower onto the back. Maybe sit up tall before you go. And whatever you need here, if you want to hug knees in, if you want to rock side to side, if you want to take support under your knees, go for it. Let the eyes be soft. And again, once you find yourself settled, return to 3 breaths in or count of 3 in, count of 3 out. Maybe this time you're going to inhale for 3 And exhale for 5. So you're just taking a longer breath on both ends. Inhale, 4, 3, and exhale for 5. So for those of you, anyone who might be needing to move on to something else this morning, I will just let you know that I am about 5 minutes over time right now. If anybody needs to go, I'm sorry if you have to leave your Shavasana. For those of you that are staying on your mat, just begin to soften the face and jaw. Soften the brain and the skull, soften the tongue and the mouth. Soften the throat, shoulders, arms, and hands. Soften the heart in your chest. Soften the ribs and the belly. Hips are heavy. Legs release all the way down to the toes. She let go. She let go. She let go without a thought or a word. She just let go. She let go of the fear. She let go of the judgments. She let go of the confluence of opinions swarming around in her head. She let go of the committee of indecision within her. She let go of all the right reasons. Wholly and completely, without hesitation or worry, she just let go. She didn't ask anyone for advice. She didn't read a book on how to let go. She didn't search the scriptures. She just let go. She let go of all the memories that held her back. She let go of all of the anxiety that kept her from moving forward. She let go of the planning and all of the calculations about how to do it just right. She didn't promise anyone to let go. She didn't journal about it. She didn't write the project date in her day timer. She made no public announcement and put no ad in the paper. She didn't check the weather report or read her horoscope. She just let go. She didn't analyze whether she should let go. She didn't call her friends to discuss the matter. She didn't do a 5-step spiritual mind treatment. She didn't call the prayer line. She didn't utter one word. She just let go. No one was around when it happened. There was no applause or congratulations. No one thanked her or praised her. No one even noticed a thing. Like a leaf falling from a tree, she just let go. There was no effort. There was no struggle. It wasn't good, and it wasn't bad. It was what it was, and it is just that. In the space of letting go, she let it all be. A small smile came over her face. A light breeze blew through her. And the sun and the moon continued to rise and fall. When you're ready, hug your knees into your chest. Give yourself a tight squeeze. Inhale, reach your arms overhead, expand, reach from your fingertips to toes, get long. And then hug your knees in again. Exhale. When you're ready, just take your hugged in shape and roll onto your right side. Pause in gratitude. When you're ready, press to a comfortable seat. Your eyes are closed. Your palms are pressed at the center of your chest. We'll take a full breath in together. Really exhale completely as you bow your forehead to your fingertips. Empty out the air. Inhale as you slide your thumbs to your forehead. And again, last super deep exhale, bow forward. Really empty out. Give yourself time. Namaste. Thank you for practicing with me today. Have a lovely day. Feel free to ask any questions if there were any with any of the poses. I'm just going to stop the recording.
Thanks, Em. That was beautiful.
Thank you, Katie. Nice to see you.